Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and this is the Frontline Changes Report. And I did mention to you before, especially in the situation report, if you do watch them, that the Ukrainians has been holding back a lot of progress or frontline updates in the Pokrovsk sector at the Adivka front previously, the New York front, and because they are probably waiting for some kind of a big news coming from the Kursk offensive. And the Ukrainians indeed was trying very, very hard and is still trying very, very hard. However, it's like, the shit have hit the pants. The shit hit their pants already. There's no way to hide it anymore because the progress has been too much. And there is a lot of updates today over at the Pokrovsk sector. And it is just unfortunate that this has been the case. But first thing first, we have clarification of the front lines over in the Kursk front as well. So there will be updates in a lot of places in Venezepnoye, Apanovka, Medvedevka, Nechayev, Ruskoye Parashnoye, Chekaskoye Parashnoye, Pischane, Pivnishne, Novotorex, Zuravka, Krasnia, Novohorodivka, Mikhailivka, Olivka, this is Mikhailivka again, Memrik, Kalinove, Pitishe, Kalivka, Yasnobrodivka, Marinka, and Konstantinivka. A lot of frontline updates, and a majority of them is actually inside the Pokrovsk front. And this includes some of the frontline changes update that was mentioned in the situation report yesterday, because in yesterday's frontline changes report, Deep State U8 have not posted their updates. And so let's move into the Kursk front. At the Kursk front, there is a clarification of the front line around here. So these are all things that I've already suspected to be the case because of the way how the fighting has been ongoing. So there is first, these are more breaking. Ukraine forces has been geolocated in entirely new positions on the western part of Venezepnoye, and the Ukrainian forces are now pushing towards Kubalki over here, and they have been geolocated to expand their control around this Venezepnoye region. The Biak Hovo, we have no idea the situation yet. It is most likely under Ukrainian control. And there is some update regarding Panasovka, which the Russian mapping have considered that the... Oh, how come this is red? So the wait. This is unacceptable. No Russian propaganda. Yeah. And so the Russian mapping have confirmed that Ukraine has at least captured half of Panasovka based on the mapping. But the mapping is a bit zoomed out, so it's a bit hard to tell. But these are all not particularly interesting, except that the one towards Kobalki, which is entirely new. Panasovka has been the place of fighting for at least 2 weeks now, so it's not particularly surprising that the Ukrainians have taken this place, because it just makes perfect sense. Ukrainian mapping has already went way further than this, so this is just some Russian concessions based on whatever information that they have. Over at the Karinevo region, the Ukrainian forces have captured Medvedevka. According to Russian information, the Ukrainian forces have moved in this area here. This has been pretty much of a gray zone for some time. This was already claimed to be under Ukrainian control by the Ukrainian mapping, and so it's not particularly groundbreaking per se. Again, this is just a clarification of frontline. And over at the is this called the Eastern Front? Or at the Eastern Front region, Ukrainian forces have been attacking Neshaev, and we have a geolocation. This is reported in the situation report yesterday. And then based on Russian mapping, they have considered that the Ukrainian forces have captured Chekaskoye Parashnoye. They say that the fighting is still ongoing in the region, but the town itself, the village itself, is now under Ukrainian control. And based on mapping, I also see that they have drawn Ruskoye Parashnoye under Ukrainian control. However, they did not put the village icon as blue. Is gray color right now on the Russian mapping, signifying that the Russians are not there, but Ukrainians still did not have firm control over it. So, but it is what it is, and this now the front line look as more sensible. You can see that the front line now look more like a proper front line. It doesn't look some weird tentacles coming out. So this makes a lot of sense. And generally, we have reported fighting in this region for a long time. There was no frontline updates, or not much frontline updates within this region, because the Ukrainian side did not want to report much about it, because overcommitting your reports of capture is also no good for PR, because later if you lose it, then it looks like you are failing. The Russian side, they also don't have the information, plus they also may not want to reveal Ukrainian success. But generally speaking, so far they have been very forthcoming. Based on the geolocations, I can tell that the Russian side really do not know what the hell is happening around here. So this map update, makes perfect sense. The front line is now straightened. So generally this is the updates over the Kursk front, and there's nothing groundbreaking per se in this region here, which is the problem for the Ukrainian PR. The Ukrainian PR just unable to handle the front line moving so far away, and they're still not reporting it. I think that's you'll see in a while. So in Pischane, the Russian forces have captured more grounds according to the Ukrainian mapping, and this time around they continue their push towards Kryakivka. As I mentioned, this crossing is most likely their objective. Russian forces captured 2 more tree lines around this region here. So this continues towards the Gali region from Pischane. The Russian seems like this is actually the main direction that the Russians is pushing. The next update after Pischane is at Pivnishne, over at the New York front. At the New York front, the Ukrainian mapping have considered that this entire salient here is clearly unsustainable, and the Russian forces have actually taken the entire castle, the hill that I over in the Pivnishne region, and the Russian forces have basically closed up this entire area. And given the Vic lines, it does seems like the Ukrainians have do a quick withdrawal from this area here. And this comes after there's a threat. Oh, why the map did not update? Give me a second. This is unacceptable because this is a major frontline region. I need to draw this in before I forget. Yeah, so let's come back here again. So because of this potential pincer movement that is coming, the Ukrainians can't hold in this position, so they have to retreat. So this makes perfect sense. So this is expected kind of frontline change over in this thorax sector of the New York front. So this is the frontline change around here. The next frontline change after this region is over at the Pokrov front. So this is reported in the Avdiivka front. Reported in the SITREP that the Russian forces have made some progress around Novotoresk. So this is already reported previously. So this allows the Russians to attack into Hrodivka. Should have already, yeah, this is Deep State UA. So okay, so after this region, then we have the this entire elephant that's appearing. So there's this elephant. There. So this elephant, the Russian forces, the Ukrainian mapping actually considered that they corroborated the Russian mapping per se, that the Russians have already reached Krasny Yar and Kutishya, and they actually went even further to show that the Russians have taken a lot of grounds west of Zuravka and Olivka. And the Russians even went further and captured, now confirmed to be half of Novohorodivka. And so creating an elephant in this way. And the fact that this advance is in this format shows that the Ukrainians have actually abandoned the settlement. Generally speaking, they have already abandoned the area. So which is why the capture is actually so fast and so weird. The Russians are just keep pushing, and they're just moving forward, meeting very, very little resistance. So Novohorodivka is on the verge of falling, and it is a surprise because I thought that Horodivka itself will be the first one, which is over here. So apparently the Ukrainians probably watched DPA and believed that this is the first boss. End up the Russians decided to take the other first boss over here. So yeah, unfortunate. So anyway, this is the situation because Ukrainians are defending Horodivka, but Novohorodivka, they kind of failing over there. So then we have this entire shit show around here, leading from Mikhailivka all the way to Yasnobrodivka, and we have to zoom in a bit. So over at this Mikhailivka Memrik region, previously we have the Russians geolocate. This is actually no. Previously we have the updates just reached this point. The latest geolocation shows that the Russians are already at the mining facility, and they were engaging the Ukrainians. But this footage clearly, is not instant. It is probably 1, 2 days, 3 days ago, and now the Ukrainian mapping just let it go. They just shit in the pants because the toilet is just way too far, and the Russians have taken the entire mining region, mining facility, and the quarry or whatever, and then they have taken half of Mikhailivka and captured all the tree lines on the eastern part of it. This is a massive capture, showing that Ukrainian front line over here has entirely collapsed already as well. So, in fact, there might not even be a defense line at all, which is why the collapse is so quick. And the Russian forces surprisingly even went all the way down to Memrik. This is exclusively Ukrainian mapping. They captured the strong point, entered into Memrik, and this advance also showed that there is actually no defense at all in this region. All the Ukrainians have been holding back this information for a long time, and the Russians just basically penetrate through totally undefended ground. And this is disastrous because I previously said that Memrik is a defendable defense line along the highway. But if the Russians just penetrate through so easily, then there is no defense line whatsoever. So because I said that this is the defense line, this could be the defense line, and there is also heavy fortifications around here. This is the second line, and they should be able to defend. But the Russians just penetrate through so easily. That is bad. A very, very bad sign of the situation around here. And over at Kalinove region, the Ukrainians have conceded Pitishe, which the Russians now confirmed to have captured Pitishe already. And now in the latest mapping have shown that the Russians have also entered into Kalinove. Half of Kalinove has been captured. And so at the end, the Ukrainian mapping over on this Kalinove region also corroborated the Russian mapping. The Russians have already said that they have taken all the way to the point of this isthmus, this land bridge. Now the Ukrainian mapping have admitted. Yesterday in their mapping, they considered Yasnobrodivka, and so in today's mapping, they now considered all the way to the isthmus, basically lining up with the Russian mapping. The Russian mapping have drawn this for quite some days already, probably almost a week. So they are now coming to terms of the reality of what is happening right here. They cannot hold back the truth anymore, because the problem with PR is that you can hold back the truth, but there's a limit how long you can hold back. Because if you continue to hold back and the front line keep moving, geolocation drops, then you look stupid. Then you look like a liar. So they now release this information. I think the next intel drop is going to be in New York. Probably it will be tomorrow, because they can't drop everything at the same time. It will cause meltdowns. So this is already pretty meltdown, and based on Ukrainian the deep state UA's reporting, the way they wrote it as the Selidove region is now in crisis, and they look like they are panicking, like kind of thing. Like if they have reported this area here timely and give warnings earlier, and then put public pressure on the military to do something about this, maybe things might be a little bit different. But they committed into Kursk. There's nothing else they can do about this anymore, unless they want to do a mass withdrawal. So over at the Marinka region, Russian forces has been geolocated over here. This has been a gray zone for a long time with the differing mapping. This time around we have some corroboration of the Russian presence around this region. So the Russian forces have taken this area here, invalidating Ukrainian mapping. The Russian mapping has been is further away. It's actually further away. So basically, it's corroborating, moving closer to where the Russian claims are. So this is the Marinka region, and there is one last frontline change. Is over at Konstantinivka. So this is the Deep State UA's yesterday's mapping, which is not covered in the frontline changes report yesterday. Russian forces have actually made advances within Konstantinivka. So that's about it over for the frontline changes report. And I have to say, this is a lot of frontline change. Like this is huge. To in one step, reaching all the way to Membrik, breaking into it, breaking into Mihailivka, breaking into Kalinove, losing the land bridge, and then half of Novohorodivka is gone. The Russians are on the verge of entering Krasnaya and Krytia. Perhaps they are already inside because there is a firm front line. So the unfirm front line where the Russians probably operating in is probably already inside, and they have already on the verge of taking Novotoretsk. The entire salient here is collapsing over the Pivnishne. So there's a lot of things at one time, and they don't dare to talk about New York. So anyway, that's it. So this is the Frontline Changes report. Do press the like button, subscribe. If you are new to this channel or you have not subscribed, if you watch to this point, I think it's just fair that you should subscribe. Don't be like Deep State UA. Face the truth, face the reality, just suck it up. You can't run away from the reality that you have shit your pants. I'll see you guys in the next update.